Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Jordan Cameron back with another video today. I'm back from vacation. It's been about a week since I've done another update on our thesis of the biggest blow off top in crypto history, followed by the biggest bubble pop in crypto history. So today we're going to do an update. Obviously, right now, if we take a look at the markets, we are seeing Bitcoin pulling back. Not anything to not be expected in our last video about a week ago. Before I went on vacation, we talked about how this is obviously Bitcoin's first big resistance, which is the previous all-time high at about 109K. And a pullback here wouldn't be anything too crazy. But a pullback here does not change our thesis in basically expecting that total market cap is going to get that blow off top to $10 trillion before we see the bubble pop of crypto, which is basically this giant rising wedge, which we're once again going to discuss today. And I'm here to give you guys a breath of fresh air and not overreact to a pullback that honestly was kind of to be expected as we hit the previous all-time high. So let's get on to it. Once again, guys, only 25% of you guys are subscribed. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, make sure you smack that subscribe button. Road to 100K this year. Let's get it. All right, so obviously right now, just to kind of discuss our thesis with everyone who is new to the channel, as we have a lot of new people coming in. Welcome to the club, guys. Welcome to the Jordan Cameron crew. What we are expecting here is what not a lot of people expected at the lows here for the tariff. So if you've been following the channel, you know since Bitcoin was at, in the 80Ks, 70Ks down here during all the tariff drama, we remain bullish simply because Bitcoin was at the 50 moving average band. And we know based on previous cycles that as long as Bitcoin is above the 50 moving average band, it is smarter to remain a bull rather than flip a bear at the 50 moving average band, which people have done over here in 2025 through the tariff drama, down here in 2024 through the war and Germany selling Bitcoin drama, which marked the lows as well. And down here in 2023, I don't really know what the drama was down there, but the 50 moving average band held the lows again. And since that point, we've been looking for Bitcoin to come up and make new all-time highs. Now we've done that. The next step is obviously total market cap breaking into new all-time highs. But as we discussed in our last video about a week ago, it made sense that Bitcoin would get some type of reaction here at the previous all-time high, right? 109K, logical place. We wicked it. We came back below. And now we're seeing a little bit of short-term pullback, which is not anything to be unexpected. If we actually take a look over here at the altcoin chart, we also drew this red line last week when we were up here, closer to the 716 billion point. We said, hey, the 2021 high and both the 2021 highs should act as resistance in the short term, and total 3 did get rejected from that point and is also getting a pullback. So not anything to not be expected, guys. This is totally normal, and it does not change our thesis. And I still think that obviously, right, a short-term pullback does not change my thesis that we are about to see the biggest blow off top in crypto history over the last 6 months of this year. Okay, so let's talk about why. Let's talk about when we could, maybe talk a little bit about the short term and when we could think that this correction will be over, and how that could spill into altcoin moves. So the first thing, as I'll point out, is, guys, I don't know when this short-term pullback will be done. I'm a bigger thinker. I'm zoomed out on the charts, and I do believe that Bitcoin is going into new all-time highs for a couple different reasons. If you've been following the channel, if we go over to our stablecoin dominance chart, we know that we are just in one massive range for the last 3 years, 2023, 2024, and 2025, and we know that a rejection from the range highs in 2023 and 2024 led to range lows in 2024 and 2025. Right? So if you look at this as one giant range, we did get a rejection off the highs. Our base case thesis and why we think the crypto market is going higher is simply because we rejected off the range high on stablecoin dominance, and we're expecting this to at least come all the way back down to the range lows, if not breaking to new lows. Okay, and this move right here all the way back down to the range lows, we know that this is inversely correlated over here to the total market cap chart, which you guys can see did get pretty close to its previous all-time high, but I am expecting this to break into new all-time highs because this move down on stablecoin dominance will lead to this move up on total market cap. Okay, now that's not the only reason, right? We can go over a couple different reasons why that also could be the case, right? We come over here on the global liquidity chart for Bitcoin. You can see that global liquidity continues to move up. And if you actually take a look, what's kind of funny here is global liquidity, not only did Bitcoin hit its previous all-time high resistance, which is likely we get a little bit of a short-term pullback, you guys can see that global liquidity, if we line it up with Bitcoin, and we know that they are, correlated with about, a 2 to 3 month lag on global liquidity. You can see that global liquidity also had a little pullback right here, right? Just as Bitcoin did, right? Obviously, we've been moving up with global liquidity. Short little pullback here on global liquidity. You guys can see the next move, if we were to continue to follow global liquidity, is you guys can see that this next big impulse would come for Bitcoin. I'm not going to give an exact price point or a time, but you guys can see that the next move for global liquidity was a move up. And I'm expecting Bitcoin to continue to follow global liquidity to the upside, which would match our thesis of stablecoin dominance going down, right? So everything kind of comes together from that standpoint. Now, what have we been talking about on the channel, okay? Total market cap to get to that 10 trillion point. Yes, a large part of that would be Bitcoin breaking into new all-time highs, and a large chunk of going from where we are now is about 3 trillion to 10 trillion would be Bitcoin, right? Obviously, Bitcoin is the daddy. It's the big hunk of the crypto market. But in order for us total market cappers to get to that 10 trillion, 4236 Fibonacci, top of the rising wedge, everyone euphoric, everyone thinking crypto will change the world, we're also going to need the altcoins to start moving. And I don't know if you guys have started to see, but through this Bitcoin pullback, we've seen significant strength over here on Ethereum, okay? Ethereum is barely budging, and if you know anything about Ethereum over the past 2 years, is if Bitcoin even budges, Ethereum got absolutely decimated. You guys can see right now that Ethereum is holding up like a rock, even with Bitcoin getting about a 10% pullback from the highs. So the strength on ETH is pretty crazy. Now, we are at resistance for Ethereum, okay? So what I'm watching here, and it's kind of a coincidence that we have Ethereum at this previous resistance, right? If I can just do one arrow, that'd be nice. There we go. Ethereum at this previous resistance, and you guys can see this was support, 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 support. We've now flipped it as resistance for Ethereum. I want to see Ethereum blast above this. And if you can see Ethereum blast back above this would be a false breakdown, and that would be the ultimate signal for ETH to move to 4,000 and above. And that would be the ultimate signal that, hey, this total market cap chart is ready to break into new all-time highs. Because yes, it's great when Bitcoin moves up. Obviously, Bitcoin's my biggest holding. I want to see Bitcoin move up. But I do believe if we're going to see this thesis play out, a large part of it is going to be Ethereum and the altcoin market. Now, we have a coincidence that Ethereum happens to be at this resistance right here. And we go over to the total 3 chart, and total 3 also just hit this massive 2021 highs resistance and got a rejection, okay? So some coincidence there. And I think what you're going to see is if you can get, and this is obviously a big if, we have to see Ethereum in the short-term break above this. We could still see ETH and the altcoin market dip if Bitcoin goes a little bit lower, guys, in a short-term pullback, but we're thinking big here. I think once you see Ethereum clear this, that's going to be the signal that's going to finally get altcoins to break above these 2021 highs and hold. And then ultimately, the altcoin market, which is total 3, right, move up to the 2.618 Fibonacci from bull market high to bear market low, which is that 1.74 trillion. Just like it did in the last cycle, from bull market high to bear market low, it hit that 2618 Fibonacci level at 706 billion. Right, so it's all correlated, guys. It's all correlated, and ultimately, when we put everything together, right, Ethereum holding up like a rock here, global liquidity continuing to skyrocket up, and Bitcoin obviously just getting a little short-term pullback with global liquidity. Stablecoin dominance obviously has to get retraces on the way down, right? It moves down, it gets a retrace up, crypto pulls back, right? It moves down again, it gets a retrace up. You guys can see that global stablecoin dominance is getting a retrace up, Bitcoin pulls back. But ultimately what I'm expecting is this little pullback up here is going to make it into a new low and come back down. And then you're just going to see cryptos bounce and start to move up again. Now, as we kind of go along here, I honestly think this is setting up perfectly, because when I look around, right, even though we did have Bitcoin hit all-time highs, we did have total market cap get within, I think, about 3% of previous all-time highs. There's still no hype in the market, right? Zero hype in the market. And honestly, what I'm kind of waiting for, and my short-term signal to maybe say that this short-term pullback is over, is I want to see the fear and greed index, which we got right here, dip into fear. Okay, if you guys can look back down here in this long consolidation here, what really that breakout move, there was this final little dip right here. You guys can see we broke out. There was this final dip that got us back into fear, even though Bitcoin was testing the breakout here, right? You came up, it tested the breakout, pulled back, and you got this little move into fear. What I'm kind of waiting for here is we got Bitcoin kind of testing the breakout here. We got a dip into neutral. What I want to see now is this one last little dip down that dips us into fear, right? And I think if we can get some fear in the market with Bitcoin, 100K plus, which I think if you get Bitcoin dip to like 100 to 102K, you're going to see this market dip into fear. You get Bitcoin into fear at 100K plus, I think that's the ultimate setup, which really is going to be the pessimism, which will continue the wall of worry for the crypto market up to that 10 trillion point. Fear at 100K plus for Bitcoin. Yeah, I never thought I'd honestly hear that this cycle, but it honestly could be the case if we get one more little dip down on Bitcoin and the altcoin market here. Okay, so we put that together, which if we did get one more dip down, I guarantee you this fear and green index would dip into fear. We already got to 50 right here at 103K. Imagine if we dip to 100K. You'd get fear. Perfect opportunity for a lot of you guys who missed the first impulse on alts. I think that would be a good opportunity to add. And if you actually look at our other sentiment indicator, which is the Coinbase app ranking, let me just move this over so you guys can see it. You guys can see that the Coinbase app ranking is all the way at 406. 406, my guys. Okay, so there is no hype in the market with Bitcoin at 105K. A lot of it has to do with the altcoin market, and I would expect that to continue if we get sort of a continued pullback on Bitcoin in the short term. The pullback may not be over, but once again, guys, focus on our thesis. This is just the first pullback of this parabolic move, in my personal opinion. Simply has to do with Bitcoin hitting all-time highs. Simply has to do with altcoins struggling at those 2021 previous all-time highs. Simple resistances, hitting resistances, and coming back for retests, okay? Our thesis still remains 10 trillion blow off top. A lot of people are not going to expect that, especially if we continue this short-term dip. A lot of pessimism is going to enter the market, and it's going to be beautiful. And that's going to be the fuel that when this does break out, a lot of people are going to say, oh my God, I did not think that was going to happen right around here. And that's when they're all going to start to pile in. So when they're all going to start to pile into Bitcoin, ETH, altcoins, and they're all going to pile in at the top, just like 2021, okay? And there's going to be massive euphoria at the top, just like 2021. And that's where everyone is going to buy. Everyone's going to buy up here because everyone's still super pessimistic down here, right? And you may look around the crypto market, see people excited. I don't see anyone excited in the market, okay? Hell, I'm not even excited right now, okay? And we were sort of bullish at the tariff lows throughout the last, March and April. We continue to discuss how we're bullish at the April lows. Still a lot of pessimism in the market. Everyone will get super, super bullish here. This will be the ultimate blow off top of crypto. My thesis still remains, okay? But after that comes the biggest bubble pop in crypto history, all right? And I could talk about this for days, about all the reasons why I believe this. But we kind of discussed all the reasons in today's video. I firstly just want to continue to discuss what's our invalidation, because nothing's 100%, guys. As always, with anything in markets, anything can change at any time, right? My invalidation to this thesis of the biggest blow off top before the biggest bubble pop in crypto history, as I drink some orange juice. Shout out to orange juice, the best juice. Let me know what your best favorite juice is in the comment section, guys. The invalidation to all this is a weekly close below the 50 moving average band, because in every single bull market in the past, once you had a weekly close below the 50 moving average band, that was sayonara, and you were ready for about a year, a year to 2 years of horrible crypto price action. Okay, so the 50 moving average bands right now, strand from 82K to 84K. Obviously, any weekly close below that would invalidate our bull thesis, and you would see me flip into a bear almost immediately. But as long as we continue to hold that, my guys, we remain bulls. We're looking for Bitcoin to continue up into new all-time highs over the next few months. We're looking for the total market cap chart to move into new all-time highs in the next few months. And we're looking for the total 3 chart, the altcoin chart, to move into new all-time highs over the next couple months. Okay? So thesis still remains. I'm excited. And I just got back from vacation, guys. Just to get a little update, I just went to Las Vegas for about 4 days. It was pretty fun. That's why I was gone. I didn't make a video for about a week. So that's where I was. It was really, really fun. And I told you guys that last Tuesday that I was going to be gone for about a week. And it was fun. It was hot. It was really, really fun, but it was hot. So appreciate you guys for being here. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure you smack that subscribe button. Like the video. It really helps me out. And I'll be back either tomorrow or the next day for an update. And hopefully we get some price action. But I still wouldn't be surprised to continue to see this market maybe chop around or go slightly lower. But ultimately, to me, it doesn't really matter. I'm still expecting higher prices over the next 6 months for the cryptocurrency market. And everyone's going to get super euphoric, and it's going to be a hell of a time before a literal hell of a time when we get the bubble pop. All right, so I'm out of here, guys. Been your boy Jordan Cameron. See you guys in the next one.